What's going on, everybody? I'm Anthony, the Realtor, and in this video, we're going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes that first-time home buyers can potentially make when they're buying their first home. So, and that's if they don't use me as a Realtor, of course. But without further ado, let's get this party started. I'm surprised that I'm even going to say this, okay? But the first mistake that many people make is they skip out on a mortgage pre-approval and just go straight to the realtor and say, I want to buy this house. Here's the deal. I understand you want to buy a house, and I'll make a recommendation. Hey, you got to get pre-approved. A lot of people end up dipping. They go, oh, I don't want to do that. And they're like, wait a second. Didn't you know that you have to get a pre-approval in order to purchase a house? How else are you going to know where you financially stand with the bank? The biggest thing about this is that if you want to know what you qualify for, if you want to know how good your credit is, if you want to know how much house you can afford, you're going to have to rip off the Band-Aid and be brave and go speak to a bank so that they can tell you, A, if you qualify, and B, if you don't qualify, what you need to do in order to be able to qualify. Biggest mistake number 2 that first-time homebuyers make is overlooking additional costs. Here's what I want you to know. If it's time for you to buy a house and you really feel that you're ready to go, you are going to need to know what kind of money you are going to have to put down even before you get the keys in your pocket, even before you actually go to the closing. And that's going to be earnest money. So what's earnest money? Earnest money is kind of like a down payment. When you sign a contract saying, hey, I want your house, and they sign back saying, hey, here you go, you can have it, and your contract's accepted. In Illinois, at least, you have 48 hours to turn in earnest money, usually 1% of the cost of the property. So if you're buying a property that costs $400,000, you will need to immediately write a check for at least for $4,000 to secure the contract. If you don't turn in that money within the 48 hours, they have the right to sell the property to the next person that comes along saying that they want the property as well for $400,000. And they go, cool, can you give us earnest money? And they go, sure, here's $400,000 and the earnest money within the first 2 hours of everything happening. And then, let alone you're sitting there going, oh, well, I haven't written the check yet because I'm busy. I got to go to Target first and go buy waffles. And it's like, well, what are you talking about? We got to secure this deal. You always want to make sure that you turn in your earnest money right away because it's part of those additional costs that maybe you weren't aware of. Now, number 2, within that is you're going to need money for an appraisal. You're going to need money for an inspection. Inspection can be something like $500-$600. Appraisal can be the same thing. And depending on whether or not the lender is going to pay for it on your behalf out of their pocket, that depends on the lender. But you are going to need operating costs when it comes to going through the process of buying the home. So one of the biggest mistakes I see people make again is that they overlook the additional costs required to purchase their first home. Mistake number 3 that I see first-time home buyers make is they ignore the neighborhood. What I mean by that is they don't spend any time driving in the neighborhood where they supposedly want to buy their property. Somebody will call me and they'll say, hey, Antonio, find me a house in Smallsville, okay? And then I go, cool, no problem. Have you ever been there? And they go, no. But my cousin's uncle's nephew told me that it was cool, and they have a brother that one time passed by there, and they said it looked awesome, so we want to live there. No. Get in the car, go and drive the area where you want to live, go at night, go at midday, go in the morning, and make sure you are happy with what you see, okay? That also means that if you need to do any research on the schools in the area, if you need to look at the crime rate, you have the responsibility for yourself to look into this information. Your realtor does not, okay? If you want to call the realtor and say, hey, how were the schools? We can pull up general information online because there's systems for that that'll give us like a numerical score. But as far as being able to comment on the, on whether or not if a location's dangerous or not, we can't make those types of comments due to regulations and whatnot. So that responsibility on figuring out what the neighborhood is like is on you. Don't make the mistake. Go and research the neighborhood. Mistake number 4 that first-time homebuyers make is they fail to consider the resale value of the home. Here's the deal. Resale value, I want you to think about this like a car. If you were going to buy a car today and you looked at the car and say, hey, a year from now, if I keep this thing clean, can I resell it and make more money on it? If you look at it and it's a hoopty, chances are a year from now, it's going to be even more of a hoopty than what it is right now. Unless you decide to buy that vehicle and rehab it, put new rims on it, new paint job, scrub the interior, get somebody to detail it. Now you know that a year from now, if you were to sell it, somebody may buy the property for more or buy the car for more. It works the same with buying your house. So when you're looking at a house, especially like if you have 2 or 3 houses that you're looking at, and you go, hey, Antonio, house A, house B, house C, I really like them, but I'm not sure which one to get. I would ask you, hey, which one do you think would be easier to resell if you had to do it? If something happened, people get divorced, people pass away, people change jobs. There's always a reason why people have to move. And then if you're able to take a look and say, hey, you know what? I think probably this house would be easier to resell later. That may be the one that you want to buy in the first place, because if you had to really get rid of it later on and resell it and make some money on it, at least you thought about it in advance. So resale value is a big mistake that I see first-time home buyers ignore, but not with me. Mistake number 5 first-time home buyers make is they underestimate the importance of a home inspection. Here's the deal. Anybody that's buying a house from me is going to hear it 100 times. Oh, it's time to get the home inspection. It's time to get the home inspection. Oh, have you called the home inspector guy yet? You have to do it. You buy a house, you don't do a home inspection, you have Uncle Joe come through because he one time was a carpenter in the union for like 5 minutes and he knows what he's doing. And he looked around and said, yeah, the foundation looks great. Then you buy the house and the foundation collapses on day 2. That is on you. The last thing you want to do is to put yourself in a position where you should have done an inspection and now you are, facing the consequences. I've had people say no to an inspection, buy a property, and then all of a sudden find out that, there's water damage in the basement. And there you go, oh, did you know that there was water damage down here? And I'm going to say, well, what did your inspector say? And then they go, well, remember, I didn't get an inspection. I go, well, let me pull up this email. You see right here where it says, I highly recommend you do an inspection. You didn't do it. So guess what? You're going to have to front the money to get the mold taken out of the place. You're going to have to get the drywall redone, and let alone go find out where the leak is coming from. Oh, Antonio, oh my God, this leak is humongous. It's coming from this foundation crack in the wall right here. So now I got to get the foundation redone. You know who could have told you not to do that, not to buy? The home inspector could have came in here and did that. Home inspectors have to protect themselves, and the way they protect themselves is they find everything and anything they can, and they write it in a report and they give it to you and they say, here you go. I am telling you right now that you need a professional to come in here and take care of this problem, because on a scale of 1 to 10, this is pretty high on the scale of being a threat to your home, or it's pretty moderate, or it's low, not such a big issue. Without feedback from a licensed inspector, you can be putting yourself in big trouble when it comes to having to deal with a repair that you may not have had to have dealt with had you brought on a home inspector. Yeah, to begin with. Guys, cut yourself some slack a little bit, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. You don't know what you don't know. That's why you're watching videos like this one right here, so that you can educate yourself and avoid making these specific mistakes. Now, I am licensed in Illinois and I'm licensed in Indiana, but these mistakes, these issues that I brought up, these span across the United States and probably in other countries, okay? These are very, very common items that people end up, the mistakes that people end up getting themselves into. But the way that you get out of this and the way that you avoid this is you make sure that when you're working with your realtor, have a conversation with them about this. Hey, how would we handle additional costs? Tell me about a pre-approval. Let me know about resale value. If you're having these conversations with your agent and your real estate team, you should be able to keep your nose clean when it comes to making super, super huge mistakes. Make sure you cross your T's, you dot your I's. Make sure you have a really good understanding of the entire real estate purchasing process, so that you can put yourself in the best position and not have to worry on the day that you're signing with this 30-year mortgage that, hey, did I miss something? Did I leave the iron on in the house? Did we turn the car off in the parking lot? No. You should only be worrying about what color the drapes are going to be and whether or not you guys are going to get new furniture. That's what real estate and home buying should be. When are we going to throw our first party? That's what I want you guys to worry about. All this other stuff, you're watching a video like this, you're taking care of it. And if you have any other questions about what you should and shouldn't do, put them in the comments. I love to answer those questions for you. But guys, if you like watching real estate content like this, Or if you like watching property tours, do me a favor and watch one of these two videos right here. They're more than likely property tours on the screen. Maybe one of them is like an educational video. But if you like the content, do me a favor, like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and leave me a comment. And that's it. I'm Antonio the Realtor, and we'll see you in the next video.